One of my favorite things to do is to do ink washes with just straight gray ink. It's kind of like watercolor without the color. And on the easel today, this is not an easel, it's actually a tabletop, is an anglerfish. And I have done a lot of anglerfish paintings, and this work looks really cartoony, but I actually have a reference photo just off the top of the page that I'm using because I want it to look semi-realistic and get the shading down just right. So anglerfish, they're fun because they look like monsters, but they're real. They have really big teeth and lots of scales and lots of fun parts, squiggly parts, and to draw. So right now I am doing the basic outline of the fish. The fun part comes up a little bit later, so you gotta stick with me because the ink wash, I love the way it looks. When it dries, it looks so cool. It's kind of like the watercolor I said without the color. So right now I'm just putting in the body shape. But since I got 10 minutes of time to fill here, I'm going to give you a little anglerfish facts here. All anglerfish are carnivorous and are thus adapted for the capture of prey. Ranging in color from dark gray to dark brown, deep sea species have large heads that bear enormous crescent-shaped mouths, full of long fang-like teeth angled inward for efficient prey grabbing. Their length can vary from 2 to 18 centimeters, with a few types getting as large as 100 centimeters. But this variation is largely due to sexual dimorphism, with females being much larger than males. Frogfish and other shallow water anglerfish species are ambush predators and often appear camouflaged as rocks, sponges, or seaweed. So there's some facts for you. Getting back to the video here. Right now, I'm doing my first round of shading with the side of the pencil, which I will add to much more when I get to the ink. I use straight up India ink, and I bought myself this little tray. I could put drops of it in there, so I can get different darknesses. I wasn't going for very dark here. My goal was just to do some light shading. Towards the end, it got a little bit dark, but it wasn't too bad. I was actually very happy with the way this turned out. With the facts that I just read to you, the teeth make for a very fun design. I don't know if design is the right word to use there, but the big old googly eyes and those big old teeth, it's just a fun subject matter to do. I've done at least 3 full-size paintings with different types of anglerfish. What's nice about this, when you're doing fantasy artwork like I do, once you have the basic design down, you can have all kinds of fun with colors and designs, and you make it your own. It's great for kids, I guess. I don't know. I love them. I got one hanging by my front door. It's probably not the kind of painting your grandma's going to put in the living room next to her couch, which is unfortunate because I think it'd be a great place to put in your grandma's house next to the couch. But grandmas don't tend to like pictures of ugly flowers and ugly flowers. And I don't do flowers because, I don't know, it's just boring to me. I've in the past and on this page, I've done some subjects that I thought it would appeal to a larger crowd. I did some chickens once. It's actually a pretty darn good video. If I was you, if I can possibly tag that video here, I'm going to put it on. But we went to the fair and took some pictures of some chickens, and they're exotic chickens. They're not that regular white KFC chickens. And I brought it home and I scanned it, and I did chicken painting, and it wasn't too bad. I feel like I'm pandering when I choose subjects like that because it's not something I would really be invested in. But I kind of made it my own, and I used some painting techniques that I thought was kind of cool. What's neat about this coming up here pretty quick is I really like the brush, and this whole series is supposed to be just me doing pencil stuff. But I even went to the store and bought myself another set of watercolors so I could do some watercoloring here, which is getting me back into painting again. I probably will, but I need to do some more sketching because the more sketching I do, the more practice I get into, the better I get at my overall designs. And you can see right here, I am just adding the darkness on the creases. Where two edges come together, I just go over the top, because when you have two edges, I'm going to learn you something here. When you are shading, where two things come together, it's dark. It's like a valley, a little cavern, and it's dark on both sides. I remember when I was a kid and I used to shade, I'd only shade one side, and one day it kind of dawned on me that you have to do both. And my work has been much better ever since. So right now I'm using about, I don't know, 30% gray. It's not too dark, it's not too light, it's just about perfect. A little bit later I dip into another tray. I did one tray of one drop, one tray of two drops, and then if you look at that, I spilled it a little bit. So when you're doing these ink washes, if you go over it even with the same color twice, it kind of darkens it down too. It's kind of a little trick. On the eye there, I did a little trick too. I did the dark thing not on the edge, but kind of close to the edge to give it the impression there was a highlight coming from the bottom. Realistically, in an aquatic area, you're not going to have sunshine underneath, but maybe the light was bouncing off of his jaw, or maybe there's a UFO or a Sasquatch or something down below with a flashlight. I don't know, but it makes for a good highlight. So you can see here, I must have double dipped into the dark, so I'm getting a little bit darker here. Getting a little bit more brave. I didn't want to go too dark, and I thought that might ruin it. I think right now I'm about 40-45% gray tone, which is about perfect. Perfect. Of course it's perfect. It's my work of art. It's perfect. So now I am kind of using a very thin blade brush to kind of get the teeth in. Getting some shadows on the teeth. And what am I doing here? I am going in there with that thin brush, and I am highlighting. Well, I'm not highlighting. I'm doing the opposite of highlighting. It's funny because when I paint, I'm often highlighting things, but here I'm going backwards. I'm actually shading, getting some darker lines in here for some more definition. The paper is wet in some areas, so it's kind of blending. That's for a neat little effect. You can do both. Paint on the dry, paint on the wet. When it's on the wet, it kind of spreads out a little bit and gives it a softer feel. Sometimes I'm doing this, once I get my gray tones in, I'll come in with a black sharp marker and really get some definition on certain parts. I put the scales in with pencil, and I don't know if I just lose all those scales under the dark, but I can still see some. I think it looks good. It gives it a lot of good texture. And texture means everything. I work on texture quite a bit. Scales, bumps, all kinds of little fun things. Any kind of fun doodad you can put in there just adds to the interest in your painting. In this one, I put on the fins, I put I don't know how to describe it, like little chunks coming off the fins, scales floating in the water. It just kind of looks cool. What am I doing here? I'm putting some more fun stuff in the eyeballs, so it's not just a big blank eye. And I used a couple of different tones there, so it wasn't just one. This is one thing I learned in my Mad Magazine days, because my favorite artists always did a lot of ink washes, and I just ate that up, and I just stole it, and I love it. This is my thing right here. So I'm putting a couple more darks. I'm putting a dark around that little area there. Now I'm going under the belly, adding a few more. I hate to say the word highlights. It's shadows technically, but it's like opposite of the highlights. Here I'm putting in some texture. This fish in the picture had these little bumps in the bottom, so I'm not just making those things up. Those were there. Kind of defining the scales a little bit more there, and that's actually not a jawline. Technically, that's a gill. So I wanted to put some interest in the background, so I thought, maybe I'll put a little bit of some leaves and some stems, so it looks like he's in a marsh or something, hunting down that fish. And so I'm doing some basic blocking in of different tones, and some stems. A lot of my paintings, I do the same thing, only instead of gray tones, those would be in green, and the background would be blue. It's kind of weird. It's like taking a black and white picture of one of my colored paintings. But I'm trying something different. I want to do the ink washes because I really like the way it looks. And one of these days, if you guys keep following me and whatnot, I will do some watercolors added in there. So like and subscribe and share, and like and subscribe and share some more. I'm putting in some more leaves in the bottom, looks like. And this thing's about done. Don't hang up yet. And thank you very much.